No.
All right, yo, we're live here, MixLife 44. We've been doing this a minute. I guess we're live now. All right, MixLife 44. How's everybody doing? Stupid Super Bowl Sunday. We're all here. I'm joined by Christopher Copel. What up?
What's up, dudes?
Good morning.
I apologize for the late links this morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have been awake since 11:57, so exactly 10 minutes. So here we are. I obviously failed to prepare a topic or anything remotely mixing related prior to this show. But we're ready. So, and Rick and Clayton are here too. So, good morning.
Yes, we are.
Good afternoon, fellas.
All right, so let's talk about some stuff. What you guys been working on?
I've been single flavor testing all this decadent vapor stuff, or started to anyways. Danny over at Decadent Vapors was very nice to send us out some sample packs. Your guys should be there Monday, right?
That's a UK line, everybody. You get it from Chef. So this is a British flavoring company.
Yep. So labels like this are pretty fancy little labels. So far, they've been really good. I've enjoyed all the samples that I sent. The Crispies is really interesting. Their absinthe is incredible. The Propello is I don't know what it is, man, but it's good. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's like a weird berry grape thing, but anyways, the few that I managed to get some actual like decent single flavor testing time in, they've been really, really pleasant. And they sent us these drop-ins here too. So I got a couple of these, and I've been vaping on those. So they've been really, really good. Surprisingly, usually I'm not big on vaping other companies' recipes, but they're pretty good drop-ins. So I'm going to be doing some actual official reviews of them sometime in the next couple of days, I think, and maybe in releasing those. But I haven't. I wanted to do them this weekend, but some stuff came up, and so I ended up way busier than I wanted to be. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing okay. Just waiting for my drop-ins, so I'll go ahead and get reviews up on those too. But yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't been doing anything all that taxing. Just some single flavor testing, vaping a whole lot of Flavor West cucumber mint. You know, living the life. Trying to up my gift game to participate in the chef's kitchen Facebook thing. I feel like I'm in the Stone Age when it comes to my gifts there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you know, it's weird. Like, as soon as you like post a thing in there, like 70% of your replies will be in animated GIFs and not in actual. Petrified. I think that absinthe is in our sampling pack. I'm pretty sure it went into yours. Yeah, I think so.
So who's the guy you post? What is that awful meme?
It's from a movie called The Greasy Strangler. I can't even say it's a good movie, but it's kind of like John Waters did Napoleon Dynamite.
It's affected you.
It's a deeply unpleasant film, and I kind of love it. And I don't know, I just don't see enough Greasy Strangler love, so I'm just going straight Greasy Strangler gifts from now on. Because Big Ronnie's gonna dig the dog all the way in.
Is it a British thing? Are they gonna get a reference, or is no?
No, nobody's gonna get it. Yeah, it's completely just masturbatory. It has no bearing on anybody else except for entertaining myself.
The river has gone away. That's another thing we should talk about.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I need to file a legal certificate somewhere, but for the chef's release, and I think moving forward on one-shot releases and stuff, I think I'm just going to drop the river. I haven't seen too many competing concretes, and you know, I'm all about that one name thing. So
pretty soon you'll be a symbol, right? Just a stone block. Picture of a stone block.
You
Minecraft style.
Sell pieces of concrete. to
Yeah,
people.
no, it's gonna be some official merch coming up right now.
Well,
David's
All
still
right.
taking this morning.
Dave's on me today. Yeah, writing Mixers Club critiques is beneath people who are so famous they have their face on T-shirts. I don't know how to break that to you, but once my face got on somebody's T-shirt, I'm no longer obligated to write my Mixers Club critiques. That's the rules because of the law.
I am.
You got some competition in Reddit too. The new flavor note artists are coming out of the woodwork. That's all I'm gonna say.
I have no diplomatic opinion on anything that ever happens on Reddit.
I'm in Switzerland. Steam, how are you doing, man? Looks like you're back in the saddle of things.
Trying, brother. I'm trying. I'm free. I'm free today, which is a rare occurrence these days. But I thought I'd drop in and say hi. It's been a little while since I've been on. I think it's been like 8 months since I've been on with you guys.
It's like summertime, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's all good, man.
Steve's been doing big things over here too. He started up his Sunday night show, and then he's got Black Mamba on his own show, and yeah, he's just saturating the market. It's kind of cool.
Thank you for saving him last night, by the way, Rick. I appreciate that.
I didn't save him. I just showed up and talked over everybody. It's kind of what I'm good at.
I mean, admittedly, yeah, it kind of turned out that way, but he was a doe in the headlights for his first show, so you definitely did save him. He told me to tell you thank you, so thank you.
Well, no, my pleasure. The dude's going to do great.
I think so. I hope so. I think we're kind of lacking in the beginner, taking over beginner market. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as long as in the future you keep Graham well away from everything, you should be fine.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so we talked about that before, about the how there isn't like a market or a show that's really targeted at beginners. But the problem is, like, so we did that early, you know? We did a lot of, first orders and, handling nicotine, basic recipes, and basic development. But then the problem is that you run kind of like that stuff doesn't take up enough time, right? So I think it's, and we talked. I've been meaning to get around to just making a. There's Graham in chat.
What's up, Graham?
Morning, Graham. You're all right, guys.
Graham.
You're all right.
Right.
You're all right. You run out of content really quick, because there's just only so much beginner stuff that you can cover in a span of time. So when your show starts to run over a few months, then you start hitting a wall,
Mm-hmm. I think having him go through the process of trial and error is going to be interesting.
Yeah, because your viewership for a new show is always small, right? So those new mixers that are there in the beginning, it will grow with you, but then you'll be out of stuff to teach them in like a couple of months. Not out of stuff, but you'll be kind of like repeating yourself. So it's better just to like kind of include it in your general routine, but more so to like maybe just make some recorded shows that are available for everybody all the time, and then move on from there. And you can refer to them in your live shows so people can go back and watch them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we did ID10T, the infamously grumpy ID10T, and I did a beginner episode, and then I feature that on the MixLife, so at least that's the first thing they're watching is kind of the basics. And then we get a lot of comments from people that they're just cranking through old episodes, so they'll just go back for reference and watch old episodes. So that's, if you're jumping in with us right now, you can head back and watch older episodes and get different tips on things maybe we don't cover nowadays. You been working on anything good, Steam? You got anything in the works that you can talk about?
Got some one-shots with e-cig getting ready to be dropped.
Nice. Congrats.
Appreciate it. And working on a website still. I did not realize the work that it takes to put up a website.
Sure. Yes.
And money. Yeah. Starting to feel the pains of the work without fruit. I guess, feeling. So now it's kind of hit like I got to start getting in overdrive mode, I guess. Less sleep, more work, I guess.
Yeah, you're about to hit, or maybe you have hit 10,000 for your channel too, which is nice.
Yeah, man, getting there. It's a struggle. Fresh had me on yesterday. That was a lot of fun. I got to create a recipe called what was it? Bust a Nut on Fresh 03. So that was very.
I saw that. I was like, that's a funny name.
He actually came up with that name. Chat wanted me to call it Fresh Bukkake, and I was like, well, you know.
Bust a Nut on Fresh was the most censored family version.
Right. Yeah, Fresh and them are cool though, man. I never actually got to hang out with Gizzy and all them on video, so that was an experience. You know, they're funny.
He seems solid. He stays off the grid a lot, especially on like Facebook and stuff. But he's managed to troll me a few times on video, so I finally got him back on video.
Nice. Yeah, what's new with you guys? What's new with you?
I've been working on. Well, we got our chef's delivery, which every one of us did two of those. So that's 28 recipes for England or people in the US that want to spend like $7 to ship it. And the whole team got the recipes in under a month. So it's really nice job on everybody's behalf. It's our biggest project. It's the biggest project they've ever done. So we're going to be anyone. Yeah, and we're going to be second size-wise as far as one-shots right after Chef's house brand. So it's pretty crazy. Like, and then they're promoting us heavier than we've ever done. So it's really a big project. Even for Chris and I, it's bigger than what we've done with them. So that's exciting. The other exciting thing is we're going to have 10 mil samplers for the entire line. So you can spend a couple pounds and get samplers of everything, or you can buy the 30 mil at a better price point.
And the existing range is going to go to that too. So
yeah, that's a big thing because it's takes a lot of the pain of like buying a one shot and hating it. Like if you were to buy, whatever. And you get it, you try it, you're like, oh, this sucks. And you spent, $10 on it. This lets somebody spend like $3-4 and get a sampler or buy a bunch of samples. So that's a real big thing. I think it's going to change bringing new customers into the fold and trying e-juice maker stuff, because it's like, it's like the vape shops when the sampling was around. I mean, that was how you discover a new brand that you didn't want to drop $20 on and be wrong. So I think that's a good way for us to really, people that are not ever been customers is a way to bring them over. And I think that once they try our stuff and, see the quality we put out there, then you've got a customer for life. And, they have a lot of options where you're not even going to get bored. You might, even if you could buy, all of our lines that we put out, like the 4 set, and then you might get tired of that, or you might, some people were vaping like the Mango Tango and the Southern Smoke all the time. This gives them an opportunity to like not only try different mixers, but really a variety of stuff. So it was really cool.
I got to jump all over Kimo for this carrot cake production. Me and him are kind of in a competition. He just got the leg up a little bit because he got the VT concentrates a little bit early.
I got a whole bunch of these right now.
Screw you too, Koppel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I have all
cake.
of them. I didn't get the whole line though. So I didn't get the carrot cake, but I have a ton of vape train. I need to release my notes for those. I'm almost done writing them all.
What? You are a machine, bro.
Yeah, buddy. In the WFC line too, the Wonder Flavors line. Like, yeah. So like, I don't really vape recipes very much anymore, except for when I'm working on commercial releases. So like 90% of the time I have like 100 of these fucking single flavor test bottles as a treat, because I finally got dandelion and burdock. I mixed some of that up last night with some cola, and it's pretty delicious. But generally speaking, like 90% of the time I just I make single flavor samples, and then I just carry them around with me, and like I just make notes on my phone, like while I'm at work and stuff, so that way like I can kind of work while I'm working, you know. So it cuts down a lot of time that a lot of people would spend like sitting down to write notes and stuff.
That's a good tip for multitasking.
So I just go, like when I go out for a fucking quick vape break at work, you know, I got 10 minutes or whatever, so I'll vape for 8 minutes and write for 2, and then or whatever, you know, head back in. It's pretty casual at my work, and I can actually take kind of breaks whenever the heck I feel like it, because there's not a lot going on at night. So at least time for writing.
So one of the things that's interesting is that, like, when you're a recipe developer, you vape. I would argue you probably vape more shitty recipes and more like. It's funny because you're either vaping stuff that's amazing, but those come, you know, a lot less than, you know, like single flavor testing for you or Concrete River vaping the shittiest flavors he can find, you know. So you end up, but like I've thought about it. I've been like driving, vaping on some shitty recipe I made, and I'm like, well, you know. It's like a sacrifice to being a mixer, is that you end up vaping stuff that's like trash sometimes, but then you also get to vape, you know, some of the best stuff. So it's like a weird thing that like someone that's just main level, you know, buys the same thing all the time. I don't think they vape as much strange stuff as we end up vaping.
Well,
I know.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just putting my 2 cents in there. Between you and Concrete, I have to say you two have probably, to most people, the oddest flavor profiles or mixes that you produce than anybody produces. So I would imagine you vape some really weird stuff sometimes.
Yeah, man, single flavor testing, because so like when Theo first reached out to me to send samples, I started doing this thing a while ago, but I kind of like really based my first interactions with the company on their weirdest flavors. So I didn't ask for his strawberries and his creams and his bakeries and things like that. I asked for the florals, the boozes, and the tobaccos, and the weird stuff, right? The weird stuff that's hard to find, like well executed and excuse me. And just harder to get a hold of in general, like harder to work with. I want the weird shit, right? Because that's like if the hard to execute stuff is good, then I can be pretty confident, and the rest of the line is going to be pretty solid, you know. Generally speaking, of course, there's going to be, you know, some flavors in any line that you just don't like, right, or don't work for you, or people don't like in general, right? Flavor Art Red Bean is a fantastic example. Flavor Art's line is like 99% amazing, but Red Bean is incredibly hard to work with. And I think it really only has a place in tobaccos, to be honest. I can't find a home for it anywhere else.
There's the options nowadays, just even the last, 2 years, where before you were looking at, you know, TPA, you know, people weren't even really using Inawera as much as nowadays. And now you have, you got the vape train, you got Wonder Flavors, you know, we're talking about decadent vapors. A lot of people are expanding to England and chefs and ordering flavors like the sesame, and, you know, we were doing experiments with flavor monks. So like the options for flavors have really expanded, where I could totally see like a new mixer being just lost, you know, where before you could buy Flavor Apprentice and figure it out, you know, maybe you find some Flavor Art, you get the Capella, you start with those 3, you work your way out. But nowadays, like, many flavors, and, you know, you see the question all the time where they're like, what's the best strawberry? It's like, well, that's not how it works. You know, it's a combination of strawberries that put together the right strawberry and stuff. So it's definitely, I'd say, a more competitive environment as far as flavor goes, to be able to like dial down what's actually worth the money.
Yeah, and I don't know, that's what, with new lines, that's always the exciting thing for me, is like, what are they doing that other people aren't? Just because I don't necessarily need another apple flavor, you know, I don't need another strawberry. I don't really need another grape, but somebody puts out like a vodka flavor, and I'm definitely all ears.
And that's exactly it. He hadn't released the vodka flavor when I first sent it, but yeah, like there's so much stuff. Vape Train has a lot of flavors that people aren't doing, right? Like it's a lot of things. They've got an interesting range of additives that are all seem pretty cool. The Jam It is really pretty neat, right? Adds like a kind of weird nondescript jam flavor without being specifically like tied to one fruit, you know, so you can use it to make whatever fruit you want, kind of jam-ish. And the English marmalade works really well for that too, although I think it's kind of like it really fits better with like citrus and like bright stone fruits like apricot or something. I think apricot's going to be really, really super good for it.
It was interesting. The I don't know, DIY Flavor Shack thing. How like it was interesting to see how like he didn't even really realize how fucked he was gonna be with that label. Like when that guy put that label up, to him it was nifty and stuff, but like if you're connected with the Convicted Vapes guys at all, and you watch how they go on, like they'll go after you seriously. Like I was watching that and I was like, man, this guy has no clue what he can do to the brand in a negative way by using this kind of, you know, whether it's kid stuff or not, it's just it's kind of like, it's worth talking about as far as like if you're going to design your flavors or your one shots, or you're going to design even in your recipes, if you guys are going after anything that can be remotely kid related, you know, and all four of us are parents. Concrete just doesn't know who his kids are.
Yeah, not that I know of, but I'm sure we'll catch up to me someday.
Yeah, but you know, that's when you have kids, you think about it different. Where you're like, I don't know, you know, I want to do this anyways. But if you don't, you know, you could like hear a pin drop in that podcast, because it, you know, if you guys didn't watch it, he basically copied a Hostess wrapper. You know, minutes after Wayne was talking about someone getting sued by Wrigley's for doing the same thing. And it's something we think about when we make our recipes, our labels, all that stuff. It's like, you know, it shouldn't even be arguable in any way. It's a kid-related flavor, you know, and it's also cheap too, because you're literally like, you're trying to siphon off their marketing in the attempts that that's going to bring you more sales. You know, some of those things get the sales, but the lawsuit's going to take that money away down the road. So when you guys are naming recipes, like the other one I didn't like was the Tide Pod thing. Like fucking people are being stupid. They're eating Tide Pods. Well, you're going to make a recipe for e-juice called Tide Pod. Let a reporter get a hold of that shit. And now they're looking at the DIY community, even though it has nothing to do with it. It's just about, there's a level of responsibility that if you're going to make recipes, you're going to put out recipes, especially if you're going to sell commercial things, that you be thinking about all the possibilities, and then, you know, have some responsibility for what you're doing, so that it's not something that is going to make you look bad, make the community look bad. I mean, that's really what the most of the people get mad about, is it's like you do 2 steps forward to try to, you know, keep us in vaping as an industry, and then people cut the corner, and then it pulls the industry back. Like you're just giving ammunition to take away your rights, basically. You know, it's like shooting off a gun in the car, but being like for NRA, like driving down the street, shooting off a gun, pulling your weapon out at like a target, and at the same time being like an NRA member. Like you're not representing what you believe in. You know, so I don't know. It just seemed to me like not just a bad move, but irresponsible. So it's important that people think about that stuff, even when you're putting out recipes. Yeah, that's definitely why I was wearing a hat, because I was looking like a homeless guy. So I got a fresh haircut and a shave. So let's see.
Word.
Steam was getting them in the chat. See, we don't have the chat on here, but like on the podcast, Steam was going hard on the chat on that label.
Oh man, I'm trained to do that, man. I spent 2 years with the Legion as an admin, and I'm just hardwired that way. You know, when I get triggered easily, when I see something like that, it's like instantly, it's like, okay, protect the industry. You got to say something. You know what I mean? So no mud slung at Wayne. He didn't catch it at first. You know, I seen he was looking at his computer, and I was like, bro, you need to say something before I say something. You know what I mean? Like, get on that, bro. You need to do that. And then Zesty did the best thing that could have happened. It didn't cross my mind, but he donated a couple dollars to kind of grab attention, and it worked. So hopefully it worked.
Well, I was sitting over there in my little corner on the podcast because I'm very much like a co-host over, like, being the emphasis part of that. And so I'm like sitting there, like trying to figure out, like, how long do I wait before I bring it up? If Wayne isn't going to bring it up, oh God, it's going to be super cringy calling out his guest. But I'm just glad that Zesty fucking did the donation thing. I mean, that was a much better solution than me having to go, but guys.
No, I get it. I've gotten pie in my face multiple times from doing that. I definitely get where you're coming from. It's not always the easy thing to do, especially if you're co-hosting on something like that and like Wayne doesn't catch it, and then you bring it up and Wayne's just like, after the show, probably he would have been like, damn, how did that make me look, you know?
Oh, no, and then we talked about it afterwards, and he was like, dude, why didn't you say anything? And I was like, I don't know what I can and can't say yet. Come on. It's Skittles' job to be the loud one. I'm not responsible for anything.
Nice.
Yeah, he offends, and then you're supposed to be the least offensive one. You're the.
I'm supposed to be smiling wallpaper for most of the time. So
I feel like since you did that roast, on the Christmas show, that I don't believe that anymore.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say, man. You rung in 2018 in style, bro. You got to keep that up, man.
I think you won the mixer of the year just because Wayne's a glutton for punishment, and he really enjoyed getting his tore up in the roast. He was like, you know, I like that guy.
I like that guy. He said a bunch of horrible shit about people. That just put me over the top there.
I bet immediately following that roast, Wayne went out and bought a chastity belt and a nightstick. I guarantee it.
Damn, son.
I am currently working on I made somebody a mint, and it was super menthol, and then it got me thinking to like work on a tobacco menthol, real similar to like the Camel Crushes. So that's what I've been working on developing. I don't know what it relies on a lot of flavora and hangs and stuff, so I don't think it'll probably be something I release. But I'm going for that Camel Crush that I used to crush back in the day.
Menthol cigarettes are kind of interesting because of the way that tobacco flavors like translate as an actual cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
Like the menthol it doesn't always merge with it as well as you'd like. I had better luck using wintergreen and WS-23 than I did like using an actual menthol.
Yeah, right now, not that many people have the peppermint, but I'm working on a blend of the peppermint, the cool menthol, and then a couple flavored tobaccos and a hang scent tobacco. So I'm kind of just finding the balance. And
have you thought about using the pucker, that Flavora pucker that came out as kind of a bridge into that kind of like tartar tobacco? Because I think if you made the tobacco a little bit tartar, it would probably take the mint a little bit better.
Yeah, I'll try that. I forgot about the pucker being like a tobacco flavor.
I was actually really pumped about pucker when it came out, when I tried it, but then I never actually did anything with it. It makes me feel, well, it makes me feel like how I do about half my flavors.
Definitely not pucker at all, though. Like completely a tobacco note. Flavora.
Yeah. Flavora sour tobacco. It's not bad, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of tobacco in there.
Yeah, it's a really clear, like, it kind of reminds me of their commercial cigarette. A little bit.
Yeah, I think I went with Virginia tobacco as like the core of it. Yeah, Flavora is like 1 out of 10 flavors. They just pick the name out of a bowl.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but they carve themselves out pretty well.
I've really been enjoying their cured tobacco. I wasn't even a tobacco fan until I started trying the Flavor line, and I gotta say I'm starting to come around.
I was really, for those of you that are on the fence about tobaccos, I was really like my first like year of vaping and mixing. I was really like against the whole idea of tobaccos. I tried one once, like probably like 6 months after I started, and it was horrible, right? It was just, I'm sure it was like 5% TPA Western or 10% TPA Western, and like, I don't know, something else really horrendous. You know, maybe
desert ship.
Right. It was just dry and gross, and it stank really bad. It smelled so bad. It was horrible, and I was just like, nope, not interested, right? And then when you smell, the thing is, even when you smell even good tobaccos, you get a little bit of that nasty dirtiness, right? That was in that original juice. It was just like, it's there when you smell it, right? But then, I didn't really think about how it translates when you actually vape it, or if I actually executed it well, would it be better? I was just like, nope, fuck that, right? But tobacco flavors have come like leaps and bounds in the last 2 years. Over there, like our original availability. So there's definitely a lot to be found there. So if you ever enjoyed like a nice cigar or a nice like still damp pipe tobacco, which was really my thing anyways, right? Like that's definitely achievable now, way more achievable than it was 2 years ago. And we have like 6 brands that all have really solid tobaccos, right? Not just one anymore.
Yep. Demlin, I think you need to try some of these guys' tobaccos, bro. The experience that I've had with some of Adam's tobacco vapes, I can't even remember the name. I'm a horrible human being, but I've never gotten that response from my wife, my mother, ex-wife, my mother, anybody that I hang out with. When I vape the tobaccos, it's more of a vanilla, I think, aroma that comes off of them than anything else.
Yeah, I treat the tobaccos like, I never liked cigarettes. I would like cigars. I smoked cigarettes for a couple of years, but just didn't enjoy them. It felt like a trash flavor. But what I do like is the idea of creating like desserts where tobacco is like your third profile in it. So if you're doing like a vanilla, custard, caramel tobacco. So using it as the third piece, and usually, it fits into the mix there too, where, if you're like 1, 2, 3%, it adds a real nice, like depth to it. You even see it in like some fancy restaurants and stuff with like heat tobacco on a dessert, stuff like that, where the tobacco flavor gets into the dessert. So you're seeing it kind of in fine cooking and stuff. So that's kind of where my thinking comes from. Like the heavy tobaccos, and even like Fear, you can see how he is more straight up tobacco, right? And then he accentuates the tobaccos with other flavors, like the Abuela, and he's using the tobacco as the main note, and then accentuating. I like going the other way, so I'm more like the dessert tobacco guy and stuff. So like I like it to be sweet. I like it to have, you know, a flavor that's more dessert flavor, and then like a hint of tobacco. And if you hate tobacco, like are scared of it, that's a lot better way to segue into it than the doggy.
I don't know. I'm on that same page with tobacco. I like to use tobacco as just sort of its own flavor component as opposed to trying to actually replicate anything tobacco based. And I think the shift away from tobacco absolute based flavors where they have that kind of dirtiness and getting to the point where we have non-tobacco absolute flavors that are decent, like the Favora and the Hanks and stuff, that's been huge, and being able to use that as actually like a component in a recipe as opposed to making a tobacco recipe with accents.
Like if you look at the desert ship, it has the notes that I don't like in tobacco. So there's like the licorice, and then like it adds even like a pep. There's got to be like pepper or something where, you know, it gives the effects of like the cheap nicotine pepperness, and like it just not my cup of tea. But then I found like Hanks and tobaccos, and I was like, oh, all right, these are what I've been looking for. And sticks like Hunter and Lingo, like that's the kind of flavor that I like, is like a light wrapper tobacco. And then Flavora just came out with so many that it really, Flavora coming out with that many tobaccos really lets you build and create your own tobacco, where like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And if you look at Fear's recipes, that's what he does too, is he's taking the components of what he's looking for in a tobacco and he builds it out. And that's really cool, where you're not having to rely on just a single tobacco flavor, but you can actually layer it out. And it makes it so much better of an experience.
So I was working on a tobacco, just talk about what we're working on. I did do a tobacco for that Favora recipe book thing coming out. It was mostly just cured tobacco.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. It was cured tobacco, pink guava, and wood spice and vanilla. So you got sandalwood, essentially like a grapefruit kind of flavor, and vanilla. And so, I mean, I like messing around with tobaccos. They're definitely a lot of fun.
And now you know, folks, that's something going on.
Vape Train excites me for a couple of reasons. Because I personally know the creator. As much as a dick as he is, he's pretty cool sometimes. But no, I'm just joking. I love you, Theo. But it's pretty cool to see them doing something different, you know? I don't know how I feel necessarily about like 500 flavors dropping by December, but from what I've heard so far, they do quality control pretty well. So I mean, I haven't seen a lot of flavor notes, but the word of mouth is sounding pretty good, and it's exhilarating, you know, to see a new flavor line. And I'm finally getting everything from Wonder Flavors, their super concentrate line, so I'm kind of stoked about that. I hit Frank up last night and like lickety split. He was like, "Cool, I'm sending it out today." I was like, "What?" Appreciate it, man. So it's pretty cool to see these companies that are like, I think there's going to be a good competition going between these flavoring houses, and it's going to, I think, produce a lot better results than we've gotten in the past, hopefully.
Frank said on Facebook the other day, I caught in a thread that to Richard Hong that he was coming for Flavor Art North America. That was pretty funny, man. Like, I think, you know, like Wonder Flavors is pretty good, but I don't know. That's some cojones right there, right?
Yeah.
Calling Richard Hong out on Facebook. We're coming for you, FA.
I mean, when you look at Frank, you kind of get that mafia vibe, right? Like you get that. I mean, You know.
I'm not gonna say anything because I think Frank's a nice guy, but
Frank is a very nice guy. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying, you know. But you know, so was the Godfather. He was very nice until you crossed him, you know.
Right, exactly. No, he's got the guy's ambitious, right? So that's cool. It's good to see it. And Theo, I mean, like, wow, like I mean, because remember the Vape Train Australia only started last year, right? Middle of last year, and in a year he's released over 100 flavors already, right? And he's gunning for like a massive growth already. So he's got to have some success there somewhere, or he wouldn't have the means to be that ambitious, right? He wouldn't have the funds to say that kind of to drop that kind of bomb. So I mean, and these flavors I think really show his ambition pretty well, because so far I really struggled to find anything exceptionally wrong. There's a few flavors that I don't like, but it's really a preference thing. And there was nothing inherently bad about any of them. So the only thing that I like literally one flavor that I probably won't ever use.
Fruit salad.
No, the pineapple. The Sugarloaf pineapple, like it's like an awkward musky pineapple, and it's not outright bad, man, but it's just kind of off, and I'm not sure what it is that I just don't enjoy about it over other pineapples. But but honestly, yeah, literally every single other flavor out here will get used, or that he sent me will get used, and it'll get used effectively. And I'm really looking forward to Chefs picking up a whole bunch more of their line in the real near future, and they just updated their website like 3 days ago with a whole bunch more vape trains. So if you guys are looking, Chefs is a great source, and they have cheap international shipping. It'll be cheaper to order it from Chefs, probably for you, with the shipping factor. And I know that Theo is looking into a United States source soon, but I don't know when that's exactly happening for sure.
He's Australia, right?
Yeah, he's in Australia. So the post from Australia to the US is really painful.
You know, that's kind of cool, because it's like, to us, we're just looking at it as a flavor brand, but to Australia, it saves them having to ship in, you know, flavor apprentice, things like that, which that can get really costly if you're a DIYer in Australia. Some of it, like, I'm pretty sure they got one of those wacky, like, Pulp Fiction laws where it's like it's legal to make it, but it's not legal to own it, type of stuff with the nicotine. So, you know, it's funny because we're a group of worldwide mixers, and some of us are like 100% legal with it, and other ones are like straight up like lifetime felons if you're in like Singapore, you know, Thailand. If you're a DIY mixer in some of these countries, like, you can do jail for life for making e-juice. So it's wild that, you know, the different ways the DIY mixer is considered way different in different places. All right, so what do we got? We got e-cig Express one-shots, got Clayton with some one-shots coming there.
I think I'm a little more stoked about the Chefs thing. I hate to say that, but it's like crossing out of the US. Obviously, we're all in Canada, but going somewhere like the UK where like vaping is so prominent, you know, it's kind of really exciting to see that it's expanding that far. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I remember one of my Chef's one-shots was being like rebottled in Pakistan. I had to like hit the guy up and be like, "What are you doing?" But just to even experience that, you know, it's the difference is like Chefs is not just a UK brand, but it's also kind of like a hub for anyone in like the Middle East or Africa or Asia. A lot of these guys go through Chefs, so you really hit like the world, you know. Whereas, and the way we happened was almost backwards, where like Chefs was our first deal, so we started in the UK, and then that opened all the doors progressively to America, where a year later we're in all the shops in America. So it's, but for you guys, that maybe like, you know, you got the recipe pack, got the products here, and then to really go to UK is cool. It's a cool experience because like now you can be like, yo, yeah, my flavors are in London, you know,
Right.
England, Wales, like it's worldwide, and that's, you know, Russia is going to be getting flavors from there. So you have this global ability where you're going to be famous in weird countries that you have no clue, you know, and it's a cool thing.
So we had a question from the chat about flavor art pomegranate. Should we pretend that we actually mix for a half second? It's not a bad flavor, but I get something kind of woody and medicinal, kind of like a camphory, like cough syrup note out of it. So it gets really hard to start blending with it. Have you guys done anything with it?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. So you have to use something a little kind of heavier handed to cover it up, the awkward note. Something that's maybe kind of like you don't want to contrast to. You actually want to like add a little more syrup and a little thicker sweetness to kind of like balance it. So like a raspberry or plum does a pretty good job of kind of masking that awkward dryness. Ultimately, if I'm going for a straight pomegranate, I think TPA's pomegranate or pomegranate deluxe are a better option. They're a little brighter and a little less weird, but they are slightly more candied than flavor art pomegranate. But flavor art pomegranate is pretty good, but it needs to be in the right recipe. I'm 90% sure that it's in Widow's Walk, Artifacts Widow's Walk. So it can definitely be used to good effect, but it needs some counterbalance, right? Some plum or something a little weirder, darker. I mean, does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm not awake yet. Still.
I do want to give ECX a shout out real quick. They're doing some new bottling, so it comes with this really solid like plastic. It's vacuum sealed, but the bottles are like brand new.
Is the whole bottle vacuum sealed?
Yes, the whole bottle,
cap and
top
everything?
to bottom. Yep, everything. It's guaranteed not to leak.
So I want to say that that's great that it won't leak. But oh my God, what if you order like 30 bottles though, dude? You're gonna have a million. You're gonna have a million of those. You're gonna have a million of those. So I ran into this problem with Decadent Vapors. I loved the packaging that they sent it to me, but they sent me the bottles, right? 10 bottles into this this tiny little box, right, like this size, and then each bottle was in a tiny little box, right, like a tiny little bottle shaped box that was just the size of the bottle.
Right.
So they all fit in there perfectly square and don't shake around or anything, which was fantastic. But then it was a pretty tangible order because it was enough samples for 4 mixers, right? So 4 duplicates of like 20 flavors, so like 80 bottles in these tiny little fucking cardboard boxes.
I've seen that.
But then the bottles get twisted around. I would have just left them in the tiny boxes and sent them out as revenge to these guys. But the bottles got twisted around inside the box, so I couldn't read the fucking labels. So I didn't know what was in each box. So I had to open them all myself. Feoa, I don't know how to say that. I'll fuck it up every time. Frijole, yeah, VT Frijole. Concrete River's got it.
That's the correct pronunciation. And I just want to say that I have this theory that all tropical fruits that I haven't tested yet, like that I don't actually know what they're supposed to taste like, they taste like a combination of like one or two of like pineapple, guava, mango, banana, and coconut. You can get to any tropical fruit by just combining those two.
Is that a race? That sounds racist.
It's pretty good though. I do like it.
Just boxed in all the tropical fruits in the world into like.
I'm just saying, like, I have a big dumb American palate. There's a lot of like tropical fruits and stuff I haven't tried, and so every time you get a new one, it's like, well, this kind of tastes like a combination of coconut and guava, or this tastes like pineapple and mango.
There's an interesting thing is a majority of the fruits that South America offers are so sweet they can't make the trip. So a lot of the fruits in America that we have are based on sugar content and the ability to spoil. So there's sweeter Jamaican bananas, but the the U.S. has agreements with, like, I guess I can't remember where it is, but like where all bananas are coming from, the Chiquita and stuff, like because of deals that exist, we end up missing out on the better quality fruits. And then there's other fruits that can't make the flight or the trip to get packaged. So there's supposed to be like all kinds of fruits that, you could never encounter unless you traveled. I mean, Christopher probably has come across some strange stuff.
Yeah, definitely, but I could never pronounce it, and I wouldn't know what to say. But yeah, I know I spent some time in Southeast Asia, and there was a lot of stuff out there that I never heard of or never seen, and I've never seen again ever since.
Yeah.
And some in the Middle East too. But I mean, the Middle East really is just dates, right? Like, there's eat a lot of dates, like, dates everywhere. That's like the dessert like thing for everything. They just have dates.
Yeah, we used to get when I lived in Santa Monica at the farmers market. There was a date farmer, and you just like a fresh, like, I mean, they're dried, but like fresher, and not like where the skin's soft and not crispy. Those things are better than half the candies that you try. They're so sweet and delicious, and it's something that, like, if you were to buy a package of plastic dates and they're all like crispy skins and stuff, it just doesn't compare. So it's really intriguing when you think about that. Like, there's all kinds of flavors around the world that just we've never even come across.
Real quick, Carl's in the chat. Shout out to Carl. Thank you. Miss Carl Owen is from Chef's Flavors, if you guys don't recognize his name. He's a co-owner, and he's a pretty awesome dude and a great mixer. And he's been helping us a lot through this Chef's Launch. Guy's doing mega tons of work to get this thing going on. So thank you very much, sir. We appreciate all of your effort. And he's been, if you guys head over to the Chef's Flavors Facebook group, I'll get the link here for you. He'll be dropping a teaser of what the flavors are that we're releasing every day or two. All the while to launch. So here's if you guys aren't members of the Facebook group and you want to hang out in there, sometimes they do some competitions and do some cool shit. So it's a good group. So hang out there. But Carl, we love you. We hope you're having a great day. It's late for you. It's 9 o'clock. So
it's definitely my favorite group. Like,
yeah, Chef's is bomb, dude.
Just if you're ever looking for a case study on how to have an amazing social media presence, like, they're great. Like, the interactivity, they balance fun with marketing, with
education,
and just, it's just a fun time. It just is fun to be a member of that group. So if you guys aren't a member, go join up. And then if you've never bought Chef stuff, I don't know what you're doing, because it's as good a vendor as Bull City or e-cig Express or Wizard Labs for a U.S. resident. I mean, being in the USA and being a mixer that's serious about your options, Chefs should be in your palette of your toolkit, without a doubt.
Shout out to Emily, man. I just mixed this up, the blackberry milk from ECX. Dude, this stuff's good, man. I really enjoy the milk note that's in here. Like, I'm a blackberry fan too, though, but man, she really nailed the milk.
Nice.
Right on, right on.
Congratulations, Emily.
I still need to order our range from there. All of our stuff. I haven't had a chance to yet.
Yeah, you can pretty much get, I think we're like 6 or 7 of the e-juice makers team, and then with Steam coming on, that'll add to the roster.
2, 3, 4, 5.
I was supposed to drop
6.
with you guys, but I kind of drug my feet a little bit. I just didn't have time to formulate it and finalize it.
That's cool. It's been timed nice. Like,
Steam will make 7. I was just looking.
Nice.
It's half the team now. Our team keeps growing.
We got a squad now, dude. I mean,
we got a squad. No, the speed at which we release 28 recipes that have never been released, that are formulated, mixed, tested. You have to use generally you have to use what the flavor house has in stock, or you have to work with their vendors and things like that. For 14 mixers to come through with 2 final one shots each, in like very limited amount of time. Like there's not a project that I think we couldn't get done. Like it's just because it's just, you know, you can deliver 28 recipes in weeks, not months, not years. Like that's solid. So very proud of everybody.
Coming soon to you, personal one-on-one meetings with the EJM team. We will be taking PayPal, accepting Cash App. We gotta get burritos, guys. No tacos. We gotta get burritos.
It's a distressing amount of raw
about?
mixing fury in one place.
You don't do burritos over tacos if you just do more tacos.
Okay. Have you ever been to Fuel City in Dallas? Oh my God.
I haven't been to Dallas in like 10 years.
They are orgasmic, bro. They're worth the trip. They're worth the 22-hour drive. Like I'm just saying.
They're good 22 hours for burritos.
Yes. No, they're tacos, man, and they are amazing.
We have pretty good tacos. We have a pretty large population here, and there's like taco trucks. Like this town is tiny, right? There's more taco trucks than there are anything else in this whole town.
I'll tell you what, the good stuff comes out of a trunk.
Right. If yeah, and the minivan driving around with the tote full of tamales.
Yep, that's
what I'm talking about. Mom and full of kids, and they just got these big like lock boxes full of fucking tamale. I buy that shit every week.
Yeah,
they come right around because the neighbors behind me make them, and they like I'm their first stop, and then it's beautiful. And I buy like 20 of them.
Yeah, if it's coming out of someone's trunk or the side of the minivan, and they don't speak English, that's some good food right there.
Or the only English they speak is $1 each, right? And then that's it. And that's perfect. Yeah. That's all I need. Yeah, or push carts. Push carts are good. We have a lot of street food here for being such a tiny town.
Yeah, I had a guy.
It's all tacos. So.
When I lived in LA, there was a guy that would come by with like a little ice cream cart, but he would have corn, and he would do the elote, which was a piece of corn on a stick covered in like fake butter, like a country crock, or no, you go mayonnaise, and then cotija cheese, and then fake butter, and then cayenne pepper. And like that, you just know that's like heart attack food, but like $1, and he would walk by your house. And that was where it was at.
Oh, where's my thing? I lost it.
I'm just happy we gave Dave a solid taco hookup here. So
that's good. Right.
Mission accomplished for the day.
Mission accomplished. We need the tacos, man. They're good.
If you guys have nothing going on Monday night, feel free to go and just talk shit directly to Dave in the chat.
Just get them all riled up. We want to see that face, that mean mug.
Just start with Flavora Mango and hit it.
Oh, and coming very soon, shared across multiple platforms, will be the Vape live show scheduling. So that's going to be a good thing. You'll know when and where to be to check out hot new mixing content for all channels across. It's been a task talking to everybody, trying to get these, organized, but I think it'll help people that are trying to come up on YouTube, because it's kind of tough to compete with, some of these channels that are out here. If you try to go live, Pippa, if you're trying to go live with like a few hundred subscribers, you got somebody like Wayne going live, you obviously don't want to go live then. You're going to have like 2 people watching. So I think it'll help out a lot.
Real quick note, when you guys go on Noted tomorrow to troll him a little bit, if you haven't made the veins pop out in his temples, you haven't gone far enough. Ask him about how he feels about bananas and cloves.
Oh God.
He loves to use Flavora cream at a 4%.
Start talking about Flavor Art pineapple. Definitely throw that one in. It's my favorite pineapple.
And Flavor Art passion fruit too.
But if you really want to get Dave going, just tell him how much you hate mango.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find the Flavora mango is just so vegetal that it doesn't really capture the full mango like Capella sweet mango.
I think you just burned Rick there, buddy.
Yeah, Capella sweet mango is one of my triggers. Dave's is Flavor Art pineapple. Mine is Capella's sweet mango.
Yams. Who got the yams?
What's the yams?
He's threatening. I got him threatening death.
Dave just went full Liam Neeson on you in chat here.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're hitting our hour stride. Good show. Thanks for everybody for coming. We'll be back next week, and I'll try to be awake and actually plan shit. Probably not though. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. And Adam, you have control today.
I have control.
Because I overslept.
Wait, real quick. When is Leilani gonna get the shirtless pic that she paid for?
From me? Never.
Yes. Oh. Okay. I had to ask.
She can deep fakes it.
Dude, I'm totally gonna deep fake that now because you're a pretty man and I want to see that. So we got that going.
Oh Lord.